We begin tonight's show with a question. Why is it that China repeatedly tries to provoke a military confrontation with India? In 2017, China had a 2-month-long standoff with India at Doklam. China followed that up by building permanent military posts, helipads and trenches not too far from where the two armies faced off. Then in 2020 began the Ladakh standoff, which escalated into a conflict. When in Galwan, at least 300 PLA troops armed with clubs and heavy sticks attacked Indian soldiers. Guns were not used because both countries have given a commitment that they will not use bullets. China lost that battle. The PLA suffered more casualties. But that's beside the point here. My point is, why is it that 2 years since the standoff began, China has not completely pulled back? It's almost as if China wants to keep the issue alive by refusing to restore the status quo. Now China has shifted the arena to Tawang, but its tactics remain the same. So what gives? Is the People's Liberation Army provoking India under orders from the political leadership? Or are there rogue commanders? You may tell me, things cannot remain stable along such a long line of actual control that China shares with India. Not true. China shares land borders with 13 other countries. With Russia, it is a 4,300-kilometer long border, as opposed to 3,488 with India. But remember, there is no tension with Russia. In fact, Chinese President Xi Jinping calls the Russian President Vladimir Putin his best friend. But there is little peace and no stability on the LAC with India. Why is that? You may point at the fact that the LAC is undefined, sure, but it is clearly demarcated. So why does China try to create new facts on the ground by pushing into Indian space each time? The fact is, when China plays in a region with such high stakes, sticks and stones could easily become guns and bombs. And once that happens, it all really comes down to which side can militarily dominate the other. China has won a war with India, but that was 60 years ago. Since then, India has acquired more than parity. India has also blocked the Chinese near Doklam. As we speak, New Delhi is focused on border infrastructure, defense equipment. From the weapons in the hands of the Jawans guarding India to their hutments, things are looking up for India. But for the longest time, India's focus vis-a-vis China was bromance, not deterrence. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi changed the soft line. He has established a new approach, peace with strength. He gave peace a chance. He tried wooing the Chinese leader Xi Jinping with a personal outreach. There were numerous summits, photo ops in rather picturesque locations. At one point it was said that Prime Minister Modi had over-personalized India's diplomacy with China and was banking on his friendship with Xi Jinping to finally bring China to the table, to work together in defining the LAC. Now that became a non-starter. Prime Minister Modi's personal outreach did not result in any diplomatic victory for India. The Ladakh standoff happened shortly after the Xi-Modi summit in Mamallapuram. That was back in October 2019. The standoff began in May 2020, and then came Galwan, and now Tawang. The hawks are flying again. It is a fact that Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping are both strong leaders. But the difference is that Xi prefers conflict over peace. He sees India as an ally of his great enemy. I'm talking about America. The Himalayas are now the zone of a new great game, and do not forget, aggression is integral to Beijing's foreign policy. New Delhi knows where the red line is. Communist China does not. And now America has added a fresh dimension to this clash. How so? by calling India an American ally. Let me read out a recent statement from the Pentagon in the context of the WION. I quote, "We will continue to remain steadfast in our commitment to ensure the security of our partners. We fully support India's effort to de-escalate the situation." Notice the use of the word partner. It comes 2 months after the US called India an ally. But my question to all of you is India an American ally in the truest sense of the word? Not formally. The Pentagon statement can be read as an American outreach, and just that. You see, Washington has a track record of cozying up to any and every country that China is bickering with. And India is an Asian giant whom Washington wants to lean on to counter China, or for that matter, knit its Indo-Pacific policy around. Which also explains America's open support to India during Uri, the surgical strikes, Pulwama, Balakot, Ladakh, and the latest comment on Tawang. But notice one thing, India has steered clear of any such eyebrow-raising word as ally, and one does not wonder why. For starters, there is a big question mark on America's reliability as a partner. Its reputation outside the European confrontation with Russia is wobbly. It takes help more eagerly than it gives help. This is the same country that fled Afghanistan in the middle of the night. We can't forget that. So why should India trust America? Hence, New Delhi has chosen to be rather discreet about its strategy with America and chooses its words quite carefully. But questions will not go away. For example, what exactly is India's relationship with the United States? Are we an ally? Or is it simply a work in progress? Another important question, is the Quad grouping the signpost of the future? Only time will tell. In the meantime, it's evident the dragon will continue to breathe fire in the Himalayas. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.